Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting some more Ultra League Premier Cup battles. Alright, I think I found the team. I've had a lot of success with this team. I've had nothing but positive sets, and I've done about 5 to 7 sets. I've messed around with some other stuff. I definitely want to try out Spice. You guys were letting me know in the comments of my last video that regular Ultra League has kind of stayed the same, so my main focus for the channel during these next 2 weeks might specifically be on Premier Cup. There's just a lot of fun Pokemon that can be used and a lot of unique Pokemon that can have success. And today's unique Pokemon is going to be a Drifblim lead. So I'm going to be leading with Drifblim. You need a hundo Drifblim if you want to use it in Ultra League. And I'm going to back it up with Obstagoon because I just love Obstagoon in Ultra League, and Venusaur because they help cover each other's weaknesses. So I have a nice set of 5 battles here. We're going to talk through the strengths and the weaknesses of the team. I want to get your thoughts on it, and I want to just provide you with as much value as I can about the team if you want to try it out. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's jump into these battles. So getting into these battles, each Pokemon are running their typical movesets. Drifblim is using a quick move of Hex, has charge moves of Icy Wind and Shadow Ball. Obstagoon is running the quick move of Counter, and actually I'm debating changing the charge move from Gunk Shot back to Cross Chop because I find Obstagoon in a couple matchups against Alolan Muck, and I'd rather hit Alolan Muck for neutral damage. And like we learned in the last video, Obstagoon's Gunk Shot is not one-shotting Togekisses completely, so it doesn't exactly help. I mean, it does help in that matchup, but like it doesn't help as much as I want it to. So I'm still teetering on that. But Obstagoon also has a charge move of Night Slash, and Venusaur has Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, and Sludge Bomb. So getting into this battle, we actually have a Drifblim on Drifblim matchup, and I played a little weird. I haven't really figured out the best possible way to play it, because the Shadow Ball would technically one-shot, whereas the Icy Winds will deal solid, super effective damage and nerf the opponent's attacks. So I just take the L on this. But now I can bring in my own Obstagoon and get off a Night Slash to take it off and take it out. And if it would have gotten to an Icy Wind, I would have just over-farmed and then swapped out to clear the debuff on my Obstagoon. So that Night Slash takes out the Drifblim, and they're going to counter my Obstagoon with a Venusaur of their own. And honestly, because I had a little bit of residual energy and because Obstagoon gets to these Night Slashes really quick, this is a positive matchup for Venusaur, but it's not like I'm not getting overpowered by this Venusaur. So we're pretty even right now. It's going to come down to my Venusaur against whatever their third Pokemon is. They're throwing a charge move. It's going to be a Frenzy Plant. I end up shielding it. And now I'm going to continue to counter away. I'm going to go for another Night Slash. You want to go for Night Slashes immediately because of the fact, or you almost always want to go for Night Slashes immediately because of the chance of getting the boost. Because if you over-farmed, then those were potential boosted counters that you then missed out on. And that boost is huge, so now I'm going to use another shield on this Frenzy Plant, and I'm probably going to get their last shield. If I don't get their last shield with this Night Slash, it will definitely take out the Venusaur. Got the last shield, and now it's essentially a race, but a Frenzy Plant will not take Obstagoon's remaining health out. So I should survive this with a little bit of health left, enough to get to a Night Slash and now win out this situation thanks to the boost. And we're just going to see what their third Pokemon is. I'm most likely just going to swap immediately to Venusaur because Obstagoon is low. They don't want to get countered down, and they have a Snorlax, and Venusaur has a positive matchup against Snorlax. 2 Frenzy Plants will take it out. This Snorlax is storing its energy right away, which means it's definitely Body Slam. I don't even know if there's another move that Snorlax has that would give it a better situation in this matchup. I don't think so. Superpower would be resisted. You definitely want to be running Outrage. Earthquake would be neutral, but there's no stab there. So I think Body Slam spam is the best way to go for Snorlax here, but 2 Frenzy Plants will take it out, and I will be able to win this match. And even if Venusaur didn't, my counters from Obstagoon would have been enough either way. Alright, getting into the second match, there was a little point I wanted to make earlier. When you use Drifblim in Ultra League, it maxes out below the 2500 CP mark, so you need a hundo to get as close to that 2500 as possible, and then potentially best buddy it to give it a little bit of boost so, you know, it can increase its attack stat and whatnot, and have even more play with the best buddy boost at level 41. So, getting into this next matchup, I have a nice positive situation here. Venusaur is going to throw resisted Frenzy Plants. Drifblim can tank at least 2 of them, the third one would take it out, but Drifblim can handle it enough while I'm dealing super effective Icy Winds, which would then also nerf Venusaur's attacks. So honestly, Depending on the nerf, I probably still couldn't take 2 more without having to use a shield, but I was able to get to another Icy Wind before they threw their next Frenzy Plant. So it gets their first shield, interestingly enough, because there's no way the Venusaur is going to win this out in any of the shielding situations. I let this come through because it's double debuffed, and you see how much health I have. They decide to swap into a Gyarados, so then I swap into Venusaur. Now, Gyarados is water and flying, and with access to its Community Day move of Aqua Tail, it definitely has a lot more play in the Ultra League meta, the Premier meta, and Master League when we get back to that. But because of it being water and flying, these Frenzy Plants will only deal neutral damage, but Gyarados is still very glassy. So I get it all the way in the red there, and essentially, because I have 2 shields, I was going to commit to a farm down and use one of the shields that they threw. They didn't end up throwing. They bring in Excavalier. Now, Excavalier is a problem for this team of 3. For the back line, Drifblim absolutely walls Excavalier, but Excavalier has a very positive matchup against Venusaur because Venusaur is throwing, I think, double resisted damage with these Frenzy Plants because of its bug and steel typing. You do see that Excavalier still is pretty glassy. And then I decided to bring in Obstagoon because I just didn't want to get farmed down and give the Excavalier even more energy, but Excavalier is a problem for Obstagoon too because it's dark and normal. Its counters are doing double super effective damage, but luckily I have all my shields, so they could throw a Drill Run here, they could throw a Mega Horn, most likely a Drill Run. I can now shield it, and honestly, I could just get to, oh, they do get to another charge move. They overfarmed a bunch. They didn't throw anything at my Venusaur from what I remember, and I end up shielding that, but I can get to a Night Slash here. I decided to counter down. Yeah, I got really risky there because the counters were hurting me more, and then they end up deciding to quit, and I pull the second match. So I do have that weakness there, but in the right situations, I'm still able to overcome it. And then to add on to that, Drifblim, again, absolutely walls Excavalier, so it's not like Excavalier is a huge weakness for the entire team. Now, getting into the third match, we've run into some Aggron Spice. I respect it. I'm assuming at SmackDown you can see the rock coming, so I swap into Obstagoon. They counter with Dragonite, and this is still a matchup I'm a little unfamiliar with because I'm not even really used to seeing Dragonite in Ultra League. I'm only used to seeing it in Premier Cup, but I do get an attack boost here, which is huge. They're going for a charge move. Because I got the boost, I'm definitely going to shield the first Dragon Claw that comes through. That's all they're really going to need to throw at me because the Dragon Breaths are doing a ton of damage to Obstagoon, but now I'm going to force their shields because of the fact that these Night Slashes are boosted. Also, I wouldn't really consider Dragonite too much of a weakness because Obstagoon and Dragonite seem to have a pretty even matchup, and then Drifblim has access to Icy Wind to deal double super effective to Dragonite, and I'm also not seeing them a ton. I see it every now and then. I commit the second shield there. I'm going for another Night Slash here. I want to get switch advantage because I need to deal with that Aggron. This will either get the last shield, it gets the last shield, and now I'm hoping that I can outpace it. I'm not going to be able to. Their Dragon Claw will take me out, but I can come back in with Drifblim and farm down this Dragonite. So when they come in with the Aggron, even though it will be dealing super effective damage to me, I can get to a Shadow Ball and still hit it for a good chunk of damage. So I throw the Shadow Ball, it'll do about like 2/3 to 3/4 of its health, and then after this I'm going to swap to Venusaur, and so the rest of this match is going to depend on whatever their last Pokemon ends up being. So I'm Vine Whipping away. They decide to stay in a little bit, so it kind of tells me that maybe their last Pokemon doesn't want to see Venusaur too much. This is going to be a Stone Edge. It does hurt a good chunk, and then they swap into a Gyarados, and now I'm going to throw a Frenzy Plant. And like we saw before, it's not going to take out Gyarados, but it does a good chunk because it's so glassy. That's about 3/4 of its health. They're going to now commit to Dragon Breathing me, and I guess they really wanted to get that farm down and throw the energy, and that's going to end up costing them in this match because my Frenzy Plant will now take out the Gyarados. The Aggron can come in and smack me down. And actually, do I win this one? I don't remember if I won this one. But oh, it threw the Stone Edge before. The Aggron threw the Stone Edge before, so it didn't have any energy, and Smackdown, as much as it does a good chunk, because when it's dealing super effective damage, it takes a while to charge up charge moves, and I'm just barely able to pull out the third match of this set. And that was after losing lead. And not only did I lose lead in that match, when I swapped in Obstagoon, I did get countered enough for them to keep switch advantage, and I was still able to pull out that match, so that's pretty huge. And in this situation, I've lost lead again, and Empoleon definitely wins the matchup against Drifblim because of the fact that Icy Winds would be resisted, and I need to throw Shadow Balls at it to deal any good damage. So they're throwing a charge move. This should be a Hydro Cannon, but they go for the Drill Peck. I'm pretty confident you almost always want to go for the Community Day move, especially because Hydro Cannon would also get Stab from Empoleon for its water typing, so definitely don't go for the Drill Peck there. And now after they let the Shadow Ball go through, I decide to swap into Obstagoon, and they bring in a Gyarados, and Gyarados is not a counter to Obstagoon, but Gyarados does have better play against Obstagoon because of the Community Day move Aqua Tail. Because before Gyarados had that move, its cheapest energy move that would throw at Obstagoon would be Crunch, which would be resisted, and Obstagoon did not mind taking those crunches, so it would have to go all the way up to Hydro Pump or Outrage, depending on whatever the Gyarados was running. And I remember last season, my Obstagoon would love seeing Gyaradoses because I would be able to farm them. I got a boost here, which was great. It's not as positive of a matchup because of the Aqua Tail, but I really want to get switch advantage after losing this lead. So they go for another one, I shield it up, and now I'm going to counter down the Gyarados. I am down 2 shields to no shields, but I have a good chunk of energy which will at least threaten one of the shields because Obstagoon is boosted. So I think they brought their Dragonite bag in, and now they're going to commit to trying to Dragon Breath me down, but I get to another Night Slash, so this will either threaten the last shield, or because it's boosted, it might do about half of Dragonite's health. Yeah, it did about half of its health, which was great. I'm going to get Dragon Breath down here, and now I need to make the decision on how I'm going to deal with this Dragonite. But I do have Drifblim, and then I want Venusaur to go up against the Empoleon, so that was the obvious play there. Sorry, I forgot how the matchup was going for a moment. They throw a Dragon Claw, it does some good chip damage. I'm hoping to at least get to an Icy Wind before they can throw their next one, which is great. This will either take out the Dragonite or we'll get the last shield. And I think they end up shielding it, so I swap in the Venusaur immediately because I don't mind them Dragon Breathing at me because their attack is now debuffed. I overfarmed a little bit through the Frenzy Plant because what I was worried about was the Dragonite getting to a Hurricane. Even though that was debuffed, it would have dealt super effective damage. But because I overcharged a little bit, I'm going to be able to outpace the Empoleon to the charge move and take it out to win the match. And I'm off to a 4-0 set. So far. I speak words, I promise. And that was after losing the last 2 leads. Now, what I also like about running the Drifblim lead is that it has access to Icy Wind and Shadow Ball, and they're pretty close in energy. A lot of people like to assume that you'll go straight for the Icy Wind because you want to get the debuffs off as quick as possible. But Shadow Ball can still nuke, and it can catch people off when they're expecting the Icy Wind, and the Shadow Ball comes through. So now, my opponent's going for a charge move. I was expecting a crunch, but it was really quick. I really need to be counting because it was so quick it had to have been an Aqua Tail. But I decided to, try to flip the table on them and go for the nuke move. And unfortunately, it wasn't one of those situations where I caught them off guard. But I promise you in other matches, it does really work. So they're going for another charge move here. And at this point, I didn't want to commit to the 2 shield situation. But this seemed pretty quick too. And they go for another Aqua Tail. So I'm wondering if my opponent here really knows their typings. But I decide to go for another Shadow Ball nuke because debuffing and throwing an Icy Wind at the Gyarados wasn't doing me any favors here. They let it go through, and I'm really just hoping I could Hex down before they Dragon Breath down, and I was able to. So even after not landing the original nuke, I still was able to win out that matchup. It also helped that my opponent didn't try going for Crunch at all. So I guess partial luck in that situation too. Their Muck Poison Jabs my Drifblim down, and I bring an Obstagoon. They swap immediately to Excavalier. So my main counter for it, Drifblim, is down, and we're even in shields, and I bring in Venusaur to counter the Excavalier essentially because of the fact that at least it can threaten the shield like it just did, and the Frenzy Plant's hurt, and at least Venusaur resists the counters. It's more I have to watch out for that Mega Horn, and I was expecting the bait, so that was unfortunate. That was really the big game changer. I could have won out the situation and dealt with the Excavalier because of its glassiness, but I needed to call when the big move was coming, and I was not able to there. So they're going to try and commit to a counter down. I am able to get to another Frenzy Plant, luckily, but they're going to counter me down afterwards, and this Excavalier is going to be loaded on energy against my Obstagoon, unfortunately. So Obstagoon's going to come in here. I'm going to hope that I can get to the Night Slash, and they farmed way too much, so a good chunk of mistakes by my opponent here, but unfortunately I'm not able to make them pay. This ends up being a really close match, but Muck is resisting all my counters. Obstagoon's not a fighting type Pokemon, so I'm not getting stab on it, and I'm expecting Thunder Punches, and these Thunder Punches are coming quick. They only do little chip damage, but the Poison Jabs are also adding up. Also what I did was I overfarmed the Night Slash, which I shouldn't have done, in case I do get a boost. And that's what I'm obviously hoping for. I'm hoping I can outpace them and potentially get a boost to then finish off their Muck. They're going for another Thunder Punch here. It won't take me out yet, but I'm going to get to this Night Slash, and this Night Slash is not going to take out their Muck either, so I really needed a boost. And then it's really just going to become a race to the last charge move. Their Muck is really low. I'm hoping to counter it down, and they just barely get to the finishing Thunder Punch to win this match. So they had me countered kind of hard. Well, exactly on the back I was countered pretty hard. But they also made some mistakes, and I really wanted to make them pay. But we still were able to keep this match close, and we pulled a solid 4-1 set with this team. Other than you guys telling me what you think about my team, I want to keep hearing about the teams you're running in Ultra League Premier, and I have every intention of trying as many different spice options. Maybe they'll be meta, because the meta is still developing. We're not sure what's really spice, what's really not, but I'm just excited to try as many different options as possible, and then hopefully continue to rely on this specific team to get me consistent wins after I do those spice sets. So it's gonna be a balance of both, and maybe if I push higher on leaderboards, because I think I was around number 300 last time I checked leaderboards, which was like earlier today essentially. So I'm going to try and continue to push leaderboards and also try out spice for you guys. If there are certain spice options you want to see, because like I got resources, so I don't mind investing them for you guys, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.